Welcome back to the channel. Today, with the Old Dungeon Ghyll behind me, working our way up the band, we're going to go to Bowfell via the Climbers Traverse and then over to Crinkle Crags. Let's check out the map. This walk starts and ends at the Old Dungeon Ghyll in the stunning Langdale Valley. Working our way to Stool End Farm, we begin our ascent up the band. This is a steady incline which gives us most of our height for the day. The views grow as we continue our way up to the Climbers Traverse. We turn off the main track onto a faint path when we reach the cairns, and then we take the Climbers Traverse over to the Great Slab and then up to the summit of Bowfell. After admiring the views, we head over to the Three Tarns and then ascend our way onto Crinkle Crags. Summiting at Long Top, we soon get onto the steady down towards Red Tarn, and once reached, we take a left down the side of Pike and Blisco. Passing the waterfalls at our side, we soon find ourselves on the valley floor. And cross over the bridge, we once again pass through the farm and head over to the Old Dungeon Ghyll for a well-earned drink. If you're a National Trust member, the car park's free. Otherwise, I'll show you the parking charges on the screen now. If you've got no transport, the buses from here run to Kendal, Windermere and Ambleside, so easy to get to. Taking the path to Stool End Farm, and that'll take us up the band here and then across to Bowfell. If you want to do the Climbers Traverse, which is quite a famous little route, then this is the way to do it. So we got the band to start off with, then we'll nip off just before the top, work our way across the traverse, and then go up via Great Slab. You can just see the pools of light there around the bottom. I'm going up the band. It looks clagged in right now, but it is due to clear, so later on we should be fine. Crinkle Crags and Bowfell are both in the list of 6 best tops in Wainwright's book, and he also describes the valley as a classic lakeland scene, which it definitely is. As we're walking down here, we've got some great views of the valley. Just to my side, you can see the Pike Loft Crag, and then Thorn Crag, and then the dip just at the side here, that's Harrison Stickle. Looks like the weather forecast was right. There's Crinkle Crags just up there. And I mentioned it a few times on the channel, but just if you're new, I use mountain forecasts to work out what's going on for the day, because that gives you the cloud base. You can put in any peak you go into on there, and it gives you the wind at the top and everything, so really useful, and stops me filming those videos where you come out, you see someone walking around for half an hour in the fog. There we go then. Here's our marked path to the band and Stool End. But I've got to say, Fell's looking spectacular today. Look at that. Absolutely brilliant. Right, this is a working farm, so I'm not going to film going through it. The farmer's hard at work. I'll just catch him the other side. Just to mention at the farm, they do have a sign there for loose dogs, and they definitely do. Every time I've been through here, there are dogs around. So if you are concerned about that, just a word of caution. Okay, so we're heading up. This is the band, and you can just see Crinkle Crags in the distance. This is our entrance point onto the band, and it's pretty easy to spot. It's quite a defined path going up, and there it is. So parts of this is straightforward. It is a conservation path. It's also got a lot of natural rock in it. As we head up, we'll climb about 500 metres, and then we just veer off the path a little bit towards the Climbers Traverse. And as I say, it was due to lift the clag today, and it's just coming now, so that'll be clear by the time we get there. This is our path going up. As you can see, really steady conservation path this, so it's good in bad weather as well. And Crinkle Crags there, just at the top. Just getting out of the clag. The farmer's just down here. He's herding his sheep towards the farm there. I've had the dogs out to chase up the ones to get the stragglers. And that is the beautiful Langdale Valley going down. And the pub is just about there. We'll be seeing that later. As it's quite the climb up, it's definitely worth taking a look back every so often, admiring the view. And to the side it's fantastic as well, to show you that. Pike of Blisco. And I did a route a while ago from the campsite and headed up the other side to Pike of Blisco and then down and onto Crinkle Crags. If you have done these fells, then just let me know in the comments and let me know how you did it and what you included. It's always good to get a few ideas on how you do it. And if you do that, then you're showing other people other routes and giving them some ideas, which is good. I have been down here a lot of times, but I've never been up it. I like it as a sort of gentle descent off the fells, but still, it's a noticeable climb. There are bits of this that are like little clambers, but it's fairly straightforward, not too technical. Whoop, he says. Still working our way up, and we'll get to White Stones soon. And when we get to the Climbers Traverse, there isn't actually any climbing on it, it's just the path the climbers took to get across when they were practicing climbing up that section, but we go back towards Great Slab. Although, it does feel like I'm climbing. As we're coming up, we do get really good views there of Pike of Stickle. So that's it sticking up with its distinctive bubble. Another way to do this is, if we're looking back just at the trees at the end, that is where the pub is. So this is Mickleden Beck in between, and that is the trail next to it if you go in on day 3 of the Cumbria Way. And just up there, you've got Stake Pass, and that takes you over the other side to Rosthwaite. That was the day I did by myself when Alison got the bus round, because it's quite easy to get from the Langdale Valley over to the top when you go into Keswick. So she got the bus round, I went over the tops there. But yeah, lovely day that. You go past other ones like Castle Crag, which is the smallest of all the wainwrights. And in fact, on the whole of the Cumbria Way, you only complete one wainwright. So if you're collecting wainwrights, we'll do more today than I did all of those 5 days. We're still heading up with Crinkle Crags ahead of us. As we'll work our way across the tops, and then we'll start to work our way down, and we're coming down this path here. So when you come up here, just have that in mind. This does give us most of our height for today. So once we've done this in the Climbers Traverse, then we're pretty much at height, working our way across. There's a bit of up and down to do, but it's definitely a decent run round. There we go. A few sheep and lambs still about. I've done this today because unusually for the lakes, it's going to get too hot by the end of the week. So it's currently 24 degrees and it's going to get to 30. So we're having a bit of a weather spike. And so this is the only day when I can comfortably do this, because this in 30-degree heat is not going to be great. So I've always said it before, but don't wait for like super clear, fantastic days when it's really warm to go and do a hike. Just go, because a bit of exercise, you get to see all this lovely stuff. And you know, if you check mountain weather forecast, as long as it's clear, you get some views. And if it's low cloud, just do a small one if you like. If you can't do small ones, there's plenty in the family folder. So if you want to have a look at those, I'll put a link in for you. Because yeah, sometimes you can just do a lake walk or something like that. It's all about getting out for the first time. And in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be taking a mate out for the first time. And he's asked me to set him a challenge for a very specific purpose, but I've actually set him 3. So when we go there, I'm going to get to pick the challenge, but more of that in a couple of weeks. The band goes flatter as you're working your way up, and you can just see Bowfell ahead of us here. So we're going to nip across the side of it, take the Climbers Traverse, then we'll get up. Just a little bit of mist there, will we get it clear? Or will this be one of those YouTube videos where you get up and it's all clagged in? Wow, we'll soon find out. We've done most of the heights, and ahead of us you've just got the gap where Three Tarns is, just here. And that's another way up to Bowfell if you don't want to take this route. Just bumped into Paul there, who's a subscriber, and he's been watching it for a while. I've been doing the channel for about a year and a half now, and just trying to get the information out there about the walks, so hopefully you'll find this useful and some others useful. Right, so we're coming up to the point where we'll join the Climbers Traverse, and we're going to veer off to the side. The mountain's playing with me a bit, so we're now clear on the tops, so hopefully it'll stay that way. I'll just show you this because this is the important bit really if you're doing this walk. So we've got this flat section at the top, and you get this bunch of cairns here. And what we want to do is, you see the first cairn, then you veer off just a little to the side here, and you'll see this track. And this is the one we're going to use to wander off towards the traverse. It is pretty easy to miss. So again, I'll put the route in the description for you, and you can download that to your phone, so then you can follow that on OS Maps, and that's an easy way to make sure you stick on this route. And then we get onto this section. It's quite the drop off there, pretty dramatic. Wow, over towards Pavey Ark. Pavey Ark does have Jack's Rake on it, and that's a notorious grade 1 scramble. So if you want to have a look at that, I'll pop a little link in for you. But it's it didn't make Wainwright's list of 6 exciting places to be. And those are places that aren't tops, but they're just places that are fairly exciting because it's like Sharp Edge, and places like the Shamrock Traverse. So yeah, he says that one, he does give it a mention, says it was too dangerous because it's really not for fell walkers, it's more of a climber's route. And despite the fact this is called the Climbers Traverse, there's no actual climbing on it. It's just the route the climbers take to get to where they want to get to start on their ascent. Oh, crisp packet there. I'll put it in my collection. As usual, all my stuff's in the description, so if you want to see the route or you want to know what equipment I'm using for the day, then just check in the description. That'll give you everything. Fair warning, this section is a little bit boggier than the main path. So you just have to nip across this. It's all right, really. It's only for a bit, then we'll sort of be on the cliffside. You can see the path's a little bit more indistinct, but you can pick it out as you go around. The main path of the band is just here, so just below us. And that's where we came off, just there. Although this is steeper than the band path, it isn't actually a scramble at this stage anyway. It's just a bit steeper going up, but you'll know if you've been down the band off Bowfell, when you come down, and we'll see it in a bit, it is quite a steep section, so that's the height I'm doing now. We're continuing on up, and then we're on this little path. It's become a bit more distinct now, and a bit scrabbly. There we go. Hello. Little sheep there, just having a munch, admiring the view. And why not? Great spot you got there, mate. Get going, you. We're getting towards a split in a minute, and the left-hand path will take you straight to the top of Bowfell. We're going to stay on the right, and it'll go at level, and then we'll hook back when we get in past the Great Slab. Just looking at this to the side, absolutely ridiculous views. And we can also see, if you look back, got my first look all the way down to Windermere. So it's just there in the distance. So this little path at the side, that'll take us to Bowfell. We're taking this one straight across here. It is quite exposed on this side, so if you're worried about exposure, then maybe don't do this one, but it's not as bad as some make out. I was watching a couple of videos on this just to see what people have done, and most people are using like fisheye lenses to make it look really scary and that it's like, oh, dead tight. But my job on this channel really is to show you what the walk's actually like and tell you what you need to look out for. So that's what I'm doing. So no fisheye lenses here. I'm going to show you what it's actually like. And as I say, you can take this scrabbly up if you want to, but we're just going to head across. It's a pretty decent path, to be honest. The path itself is a couple of feet across. It has got this exposure on the side. There's absolutely no wind today. Well, it's probably about 15 miles an hour. So it's a good day to do something like this. But I'll try and show you exactly how tricky or not it is going across. You are close to the edge, but I really don't feel like I'm in danger of falling off. There's a couple little bits to look out for later on though. So that's our sort of fall away at the side, but realistically, I'm not in any danger really of falling off it, unless I don't watch my feet, which is why I'm watching my feet. So I'll show you as much of this as I can to give you a good sense of it. A few little rocks here to get over. This one is one you'll see on a few people's videos, because it is quite an interesting way to get up Bowfell. And it's definitely got the advantage of an absolutely brilliant lookout. I mean, because it's so steep, you just get nothing between you and the view. And that is incredible. Absolutely amazing. You can see right down to Windermere at this stage in the distance. I'll just try and show you like the first person view of it so you can see what I'm facing. And it is actually really on the edge. But as I say, there's no wind today, so not to worry. If you're doing this in adverse conditions, then you need to be really careful. And I definitely wouldn't advise it, because if you slip, it's quite a drop off. Wow. It's like a Beauty and the Beast. So just be careful. I think I'm really telling myself to be careful, but should be all right. Right, I'm going to watch my feet because it is actually quite narrow, but it's easy to walk on this path. There's a little bit of a stony section coming down here, but apart from that, it should be okay. If you have done this or it's been any use at all in planning this trip, then just let me know in the comments, because it's always good to know people are using the videos. And of course you can just watch it and go, that's not for me, which is totally fine, because that's also why I'm doing these, because I want to give you a bit more information as to, if you feel like you're ready for it or not. There we go. There's a bit of a climb down on this one. Just through here, and we're getting close to the end section. Oh. It is, I'll say it's a pretty straightforward mountain path to do, in my opinion anyway. But, tell me if you agree with me in the comments. We're going to ascend a little bit here, and then we'll turn and we'll face the Great Slab, which if you've not been here, is a massive piece of rock. Whoa. And that's why it's the climbers' traverse, because you've got some great little climbing areas here. To climb up here myself. This final section broadens out, and then we'll be facing Great Slab. Got a little mountain friend here. Hello. There's Mummy. Right, so we'll work our way across the tops, and then we'll hook back around in a little bit. Sun's out, and it's about 24 degrees today. Look at that. Plenty to climb around here. This section's pretty nice. It's definitely opened up for us. So you can see it gets a bit broader the further along you get. And we're getting to the end just here, and then we're turning and heading up there. This is us just hitting the turn. If you look just over here, there's a couple of climbers at the top there, probably about 3/4 of the way up. I have done some climbing in my time, but I think that's probably the end of my adventures doing that. We'll see. This is a good bit of fun though, so we're going to go up and we'll get towards Great Slab. Here we go. It's a bit wet when you're coming up here. Whoop. And a bit slippy. So just be careful. But it's not quite as exposed as it was on the actual path down there. It's a bit of a scree run as you come up, but I'm just sticking close to the wall because that's the most obvious path. This is us heading up, and that is Great Slab on this side. This section is not long, but it is steep, so take some time to admire the view. It is quite steep, but only for 40 metres, then it rounds off towards the top, so it's all right really. I think it's about these. There's always time to turn back and have a little admire of the scene. So if we're looking over here, you can see the big one right in the distance there. That's Skiddaw. And then you've got Blencathra more towards the right. When I was doing the Skiddaw video, I did long side and long side edge, but also picked up Bakestall on that one. And if you're doing your wainwrights, Bakestall's a bit of an awkward one to get, as is Ullock Pike really, so that'll give you a good round. But I only published that last week, so if you've not seen it and you're interested in that, definitely a good walkout. And the thing is about long side edge, unlike this one where you've got some exposure at the side, you don't really have that. So you get great views on both sides, and long side again is just over in the distance. Just popping out into the sunshine. This is Great Slab, that's the top of it. So we are here. It is an amazing piece of natural work. So just look at that. I've always thought it looks really good to ski off, but I wouldn't like to end down there. Just joined the path, and this is the top of Bowfell. Wow, a few birds circling, ominously. So that is the Climbers Traverse complete via the Great Slab. So we're going to get to the top of Bowfell here, have a minute, take a look around, then work our way over to Crinkle Crags. Bowfell is a popular top, so it's a quite decent path on this one. It's a bit bouldery on this bit, but you've got the cairns to mark out the path, so just keep an eye out for those and I'll show it to you. Just dead ahead here. I don't normally worry too much about looking for cairn markers, but on this one, because there's no grass, you can't really see where people have gone. So definitely come in handy. Oh, and there's our next one ahead. The helicopter's just over there in the distance, so hopefully it's not mountain rescue, it's just a tourist helicopter. But yeah, it looks like it's heading towards Skiddaw, and last time I was up there the other week, there was a tourist helicopter going around it, and I think that is it. It's a little bit more hands-on near the top, but we're nearly there now. Here we go. Right, so that's the top. That's the lookout. So I'll say Skiddaw right in the distance there. Right, let's check it out from the air. Although we're in the Southern Fells here, Wainwright's last book is the Western Fells, and in the back of it, it reveals 6 of the best tops. These are his top 6: Scarfell Pike, Bowfell that we're on now, Pillar, Great Gable, Blencathra and Crinkle Crags, which is our next stop. We're leaving Bowfell, working our way over to Crinkle Crags, which you can just see ahead of us. And there they are. So we'll go down towards the band again, then up past Three Tarns and across those Crinkle Crags. Looking out for cairns again, I'm off the path. Right, let's get back on. That's what I'm looking for. Now there are 5 crinkles. There are 4 in close succession, then just 1 further on. When we're on the crags, we'll also come across Bad Step, so that's something to watch out for. Right, we're past Great Slab here again, and then working our way down. I'll just show you this from the top while we're here. So this is where we came up earlier, and this is the Great Slab. And then we're just going to be over here, down into the dip to Three Tarns, then up to Crinkle Crags. Again, sticking to the cairns, heading forward, and it's a lovely clear day today, but these are also really useful when it's a bit claggy. Look, Windermere there in the distance. This down we're about to do, it is quite scrabbly, but you know, just take your time on it. And then across Crinkle Crags, that's a good run, good fun run. The tarns are just coming into view, and that's your good indicator as to when we can turn off. So if you are doing this route and then maybe you run out of light or something goes a little awry or you've had enough, then when you get to the Three Tarns, if you just take a left, then you can head straight down the band again. And it's always worth planning in those ditch out options just in case. So we'll just get off Bowfell, and the name Bowfell comes from the shape of the mountain. It's like a bow, so that's where that comes from. And Crinkle Crags we're going to, they're crinkly. This off then, it's a little bit on the shaly side, but then it turns into a path, but then goes a little bit shaly again down there, so just take your time on it. This is our Three Tarns, and then once we're there, we're just heading up into Crinkle Crags, round the top, and then back down to the pub. This descent's 220 metres, so it's one you'll notice, and then we'll be going back up. So this group were debating for quite a long time on the top of Bowfell how to get off, and they clearly didn't know. So I told them this route and to look out for the Three Tarns and then head off left down the band. But if you think someone is struggling for direction on the mountain, it is always worth just checking in with them, see if they're okay. They didn't seem to have enough equipment or water for the mountain, so best to tell them the quickest way off. And if they'd have gone off in the wrong direction, that could have been trouble. So back to where the band is, and just heading past the Three Tarns. This lower section's a little boggy, but that's why there's Three Tarns there. So you pick out the path in the middle, and you're essentially walking up here and keeping to this side of the boulder. Then it soon becomes clearer where we're going. Got to say, on this section I'm really using the cairns because this is so rocky, it's difficult to pick the paths out. It's a bit of a boulder field, and when I'm saying cairn, I know that YouTube doesn't recognise the word, so every time I say it I have to retype it in if you're using the subtitles. So if you're watching this in a foreign language, it gets interpreted properly. Such are the trials and tribulations of YouTube. Here's quite the drop off, and again, glimpses down to Windermere as we come across the tops. Let's get in our crinkles then. If you've not been up here, you can probably guess by the name. Crinkly means it's, you know, like that, and craggy means all this stone, so you have to keep your eye on the path a bit because It's not as distinguishable because there's no grass or little ruts to follow. So cairns the answer. That's another one I have to type out. Really get a sense of the bobbly tops now. So we'll wind our way across those. Just working our way along. This is Shelter Crags where I am now. Just a little wander up. The view out is really good. So that's Windermere, as I said over there. Pike of Blisco is just here. And this is our next route. So again, a little bit scrabbly on the way up there. Whew, getting windy. I think the wind's probably about 35 miles an hour. So you probably can't tell because there's only rocks around me. But yeah, it's getting up now for sure. Views out to the side on this are fantastic. It is kind of a ridge walk this, so it's one that does offer you quite a lot of views as you go around. Again, keeping our eyes out for the cairns. I'm gonna have a lot of typing to do. This is the path, so it's got some slightly smaller stones to pick it out, and it is worth having them because they sort of jam into the rocks a bit more. As I say, no specific top on this one, but just a series of things to do. Sometimes the wainwrights, I'm thinking, why is this one? And you know why this is one, and you know why Bowfell's one as well, because they're both outstanding tops. And he puts them in because of the ruggedness, the height, and the views that you get. So that is a spectacular day out if you're coming to see this. Just work our way down and back up again. Such is the life of a crinkler. Another little sheep there. Hello. If you're wondering what that sheep's looking at, they just stopped to admire this view. Absolutely cracking. So there you've got Scarfell and Simmons Knot, and then Scarfell Pike to the right. I'd say on this one, because it is so rocky, it's definitely worth downloading the app, because I know some people just use paper maps, but it keeps you on track, and you can see, if you're thinking is it that side or this side, you can see where it is on the app, so it really helps out. A few scrambles, so if you're new to scrambling, you won't be by the time you finish this. Still on with the cairns, still picking the path out. It's a good old run. It's always worth coming up to check the views off these because it's spectacular. When we get here, we can really see where the craggy bit of the name comes from. So we'll head up a little bit and then we'll be on the long top. Gone from Bowfell, worked our way along here, and this is the third crinkle here. So you can nip up and get each of the crinkles, and then we're just continuing up here to long top. And there's mummy sheep. Hello. There's the sheep, there's the black lamb there. Hey. Alright, we're going to head our way over here. May as well skip across the top. What a view. It's absolutely ridiculous. There we go. So long top, and then we're down to bad step. I'm going to work our way around here. Working our way down to bad step, and that is somewhere you really need to watch your feet. It's a little bit of a climb down, but in the fog, when you're not really looking where you're going, it could be a pretty bad step. After long top, there's a bit more of a serious down to do, and you've got to watch your foot in a bit. So this is what you face, and then we're up the other side. I'll show you this from the other side in a minute because it'll give you a clearer idea, but it's a bit of a steep down for us. Now then, get across it. This is actually bad step, so I'm on the top of it here. I'll just show you it from this angle. Get round. So you can, if you want to, climb down it. Should I climb down it is the question. It's not that it's particularly steep. Well, it is steep, what we're talking about. It's not that it's particularly high, but obviously if you get it wrong, it's a dodgy one. So, anyway, best actually to go round. So I'm actually going to go round it because I'm not a lunatic. No, I'm not. Okay, so we're going to work our way down. I'm going to put the GoPro away for a little minute though because I don't want to have a bad step. Okay, we're down. Now worth saying that when I'm doing any climbs like this, I face the wall, don't face forward. So it gives me more purchase, I've got more options, and I can look down and check my feet properly, and I've got more control over my toes. So if you're doing it, it really is best to climb down it as if it's a cliff face rather than just try and walk forward. And that'll rapidly reduce your chances of having a bad step. However, that done, look at that for a drop down. Yeah, if you come in the other way, you can easily see bad step there. It's just that little cave thing. Wow. Anyway, the sun's out now. We've done the dangerous stuff. So we're just gonna walk across the tops and then head down into the valley. I started this later today because two reasons. One was the cloud, which was the big reason. The other one is it's quieter, sort of later on in the day. So I've seen one person on Crinkle Crags. I saw no one on the traverse, but that's probably because most people take the sort of band up and down. And there were a couple of groups on Bowfell. But yeah, pretty quiet day in the lakes. So today sundown is 9:40 at night, so it's a pretty long day. And Paul I bumped into earlier. He said he was doing wild camping the next 2 days, and he's gonna set off tomorrow quite late. That's a good idea because it's going towards 30 degrees now. So again, it's a bit cooler in the evening, so you'll need to carry less water. So we are nearly there. Going to work our way gradually down shortly. Wow. Still fantastic views. It's a great one this for getting the views in. So what I'd say about this route is the climbers traverse, absolutely brilliant. If you don't mind the exposure at the side, that's a really high level path and there's nothing in your way, so you can just admire the view. Bowfell, always great views from the top of there. And then when you're on Crinkle Crags, it is very up and down. There is that little climb down on bad step, and equally it is quite scrambly. So if you're used to scrambles, then it's a good one. But if you've never done one, they're not like a big deal. It's just got to put your hands down occasionally. So I think most people should be able to manage it okay. And I've certainly taken novices up here when I've been leading them, and they've been totally fine with it. And I'll say the good point about doing this one is if you get halfway round and then you think I'm done, then you can start to just head down the band again, and that's a quick way to get back. Right, so we'll finish this off. Hope you're enjoying the video. If you are, it helps me to click on the like, and it also helps if you share it out to more people, put comments in, tell me what you thought about it, or tell me about when you did it. And equally, if you want to see more of these, then just click on subscribe in the corner. It doesn't cost anything. It just means you'll get an update when I release the next video. Right, we're working our way down gradually past the tarn, then we'll be at the pub. This is our down, so we're heading down the path, just next to the tarn. Pike of Blisco is just here, and then we'll head our way down into the valley. Again, a bit of scrambling, or hands-on anyway, as you're coming down. You won't be unfamiliar with that by this point in the walk, it just won't faze you. Just past a guy looking for his pitch for the night, so he's going to well camp out. And some people are doing that this time of year. In the Lake District, the rule is basically camp above the highest wall, set up late, so this is fine to do it this late, and then pack up early, because it's not a campsite. But when I was at the car park earlier, there were a couple of cars of lads, and they obviously had come without booking a campsite, and they were seeing if they could pitch the tent up at 1 o'clock in the National Trust car park, which is a no. So do plan ahead, but particularly around here, Angle Tarn's a popular place to stay, and you usually get well campers around there. That's our accompanying view, so we can't really complain at that as we come down. The shadows are lengthening and the pub's open. Completing that section, and we're just approaching Red Tarn. The path will go red in a minute down here, and that's where Red Tarn gets its name from, because that sort of area seems to have probably iron deposits in it, and that makes it red. So we're down here, Red Tarn. You can just see actually the red path there ahead. Red Tarn's on this side, and we're taking the path off that way. This is Pike of Blisco, so if you're looking for more wainwrights to pick up in the area, that's a good one. Got some quite classic lakeland scenery as we're coming down. And I've also got a little plain. That's not too far off the tops. Good time of day to go out. I always go out this time of day in my plane. This is us heading. You can see the path has started to oxidise a bit. So that is the same for all the paths on this little section as we're going down. There's Red Tarn just ahead. And then we're going to take the path just down here into the valley. At this stage we've dropped about 300 metres, and at the turn we've got another 450 to go down. So it's still quite a way, but it's fairly gentle. What I find is, if you get later in the day and towards the evening, the sheep aren't that bothered if you're about. But like dead early on, they're quite skittish. So I don't know what that's about. A bit of an obstacle. This is our fork. We've had enough up for today, so we're heading down. I like this time of day because you get more dramatic shadows. Looks pretty cool. When we were on the other side and we were looking across at the waterfalls, this is essentially what you can see. Even more waterfall action, so that adds a bit of fun in to the end of the walk. Look at that, absolutely brilliant. We're still on the red path, heading down. It's a nice conservation path. There's a couple of bouldery spots, but nothing we can't manage, it's all right. As we're coming down, you can just see Pike of Stickle there, and then over to the side, Thundercar Knot, and then a little further over to the right, Harrison Stickle. And as I say, once you've done Crinkle Crags, this is a really easy path to come down, so it gives a great view at the end of the day. Then we can look onto Langdale Valley and the farm, and not far away, just in the trees, is the Old Dungeon Ghyll. This blocky conservation path completes our down, so we'll soon be at the back. What's happening here? I don't like the look of that. Oh man. What shall we do? Question is, when you've got two animals with big horns looking at you, and one of them's definitely a bull, do you go in the field? I think we go in the field and then steer well clear of the calf. Yeah, I think we're all right. We're away from the calf, that's the main thing. If you see anything coming behind me, tell me. I'm going to rapidly work my way down this path and then to the Old Dungeon Ghyll over there. Nearly at the farm, and this is where the band just joins our path. Right, now here's the farm. Look out for loose dogs then. Here's our meadow from this morning. Still looking fantastic. And there's a look back towards the fells. So thanks for watching to the end. If you enjoyed the video, it helps me if you click on the like. And if you want to say anything about the video, or you're thinking of doing this, or you've done it, so just let me know in the comments. And equally, if you want to see more of these, then just click on subscribe and you'll be able to see them as they come up. It doesn't cost anything, it's absolutely free. It just means you don't have to go hunting for my stuff when I've got a new video out, because it'll just alert you automatically. Right, we're off to the climbers bar then. Have a think what you want. I'll see you in there.